"The old Doorman is being paranoid," they muttered at the security meeting as Henry tried to report suspicious surveillance activity. Protecting the residents who trusted him broke his heart when no one believed him. But nobody knew he was a former military intelligence officer who'd spent decades identifying such threats. From which city in the world are you watching this story today? If stories like this move you, consider subscribing to Unseen Legends for more tales of quiet heroes walking among us. Wednesday morning, 7:15 a.m. The elegant lobby of Manhattan's prestigious Riverside Towers was beginning its daily routine. Henry Washington, 71 years old, stood at his post by the main entrance, greeting residents with his characteristic warmth and professionalism. In his crisp uniform, polished shoes, and gentle demeanor, he embodied the quintessential New York City doorman. He had been working at this luxury building for 14 years, and to residents and visitors, he was an indispensable part of their daily lives. Nobody knew Henry's past. To them, he was simply Henry, the reliable doorman who knew everyone's name, accepted packages with care, hailed taxis in any weather, and always had a friendly word for children and elderly residents. No one knew that between 1970 and 1998, he had served as a U.S. Army military intelligence officer, specializing in counterintelligence operations and foreign surveillance detection across some of the world's most sensitive locations. But over the past 2 weeks, Henry had been observing activities that triggered every alarm bell from his intelligence training. It started with seemingly innocent occurrences. A utilities maintenance van had been parking across the street at irregular intervals, always with different personnel but identical equipment configurations. The crew claimed to be working on telecommunications infrastructure, but their behavior patterns were all wrong. Henry's trained eye catalogued the inconsistencies. The technicians spent more time observing the building than working on equipment. Their tools were high-end surveillance gear disguised as maintenance equipment. Most concerning, they were systematically documenting the daily routines of specific residents, departure times, visitor patterns, security protocols. The breakthrough came when Henry recognized sophisticated counter-surveillance techniques. The team rotated vehicles, changed personnel schedules to avoid pattern recognition, and used communication protocols that were clearly intelligence-grade rather than commercial maintenance operations. Henry realized that Riverside Towers was under systematic surveillance by professional operatives, and several residents appeared to be specific targets. The building housed federal judges, senior diplomats, and defense contractors, exactly the type of individuals who would attract foreign intelligence attention. His military intelligence training demanded documentation. Henry began photographing license plates, recording arrival and departure times, and noting equipment configurations. Within a week, he had identified a sophisticated surveillance operation targeting at least 6 high-value residents. The patterns were textbook foreign intelligence methodology: extended observation periods to establish behavioral baselines, technical surveillance equipment to monitor communications, personnel rotation to minimize detection risk, cover stories that provided legitimate access to the target area. Henry faced a dilemma that challenged his retirement philosophy. For 14 years, he had successfully built a peaceful civilian life, serving his community through hospitality rather than intelligence operations. But his building was under attack by foreign operatives, and his unique expertise made him possibly the only person capable of recognizing and countering the threat. On Thursday evening, Henry approached building manager Patricia Collins with his concerns. "Ms. Collins, we need to discuss building security. I've identified suspicious surveillance activities targeting our residents." Patricia looked skeptical. "Henry, what kind of surveillance? Professional intelligence operations? Foreign operatives conducting systematic observation of federal judge Morrison, diplomat Williams, and defense contractor Rodriguez." "Henry, that sounds paranoid. How could you possibly know such things?" Henry hesitated. Revealing his intelligence background meant exposing the quiet civilian identity he'd carefully maintained. "Because I have training that allows me to recognize such operations." "What kind of training?" "Military intelligence. 28 years analyzing foreign surveillance activities." Patricia's expression changed from skepticism to concern. "You're serious, very serious, and we need to contact federal authorities immediately." Friday morning, Henry called the FBI's New York field office. "FBI, how may I help you? I need to report foreign intelligence surveillance operations against U.S. government personnel. I have documentation of systematic espionage activities." "Sir, what's your background for making this assessment?" "Former U.S. Army military intelligence, counterintelligence specialist, 28 years experience." There was a pause. "Sir, please hold while I transfer you to our counterintelligence division." Agent Sarah Kim came on the line. "Mr. Washington, this is Agent Kim. Can you detail your observations?" Henry opened his comprehensive surveillance file. "Foreign intelligence team conducting systematic observation of high-value targets at Riverside Towers, Manhattan. Professional-grade equipment, counter-surveillance protocols, targeting federal personnel." "How long have you been monitoring this activity?" 2 weeks of active documentation. Pattern recognition indicated foreign intelligence from initial observation. Sir, your military file shows extraordinary service. Berlin Wall operations, Cold War counterintelligence, East European surveillance detection, legendary work. That was my job. Protecting Americans is still my mission. Mr. Washington, we've been tracking increased foreign intelligence activity in Manhattan. Your observations may be connected to a larger operation. Agent Kim continued, we need your help. Your position provides perfect surveillance of their activities, and your expertise allows threat assessment beyond our current capabilities. Henry looked at his elegant lobby, then thought about the residents who trusted him with their security. What do you need? Continue documentation. We'll establish coordination protocols. Your intelligence will guide our counter-operation. For the next 10 days, Henry conducted the most sophisticated counter-surveillance operation in FBI New York history. Using his Doorman position as perfect cover, he documented the foreign intelligence team's entire operational structure. His analysis revealed a Russian SVR operation targeting classified information from federal judges' case files, diplomatic communications, and defense contractor project details. The intelligence value was estimated in the millions. Mr. Washington, Agent Kim explained during a secure briefing, your work has exposed a major espionage network. We've been hunting this operation for 8 months. Pattern analysis doesn't change, regardless of location. Your Cold War experience prepared you perfectly for this. Different decade, same adversaries, using updated methods. The FBI operation, coordinated through Henry's building position, resulted in the arrest of 12 Russian operatives and the disruption of a multi-city espionage network. Henry's intelligence documentation provided evidence for federal prosecution under the Espionage Act. Sir, Agent Kim said after the arrests, you've prevented a major intelligence disaster. The information they were collecting could have compromised national security for years. I protected my residents and my country. You did much more. Would you consider consulting for us? Your skills are invaluable. Henry considered the offer while looking at his beautiful lobby where residents trusted him daily. Part-time perhaps, but I won't leave my post here. Why not pursue a larger counterintelligence role? Because this is where I belong now. I spent 28 years hunting spies in offices and conference rooms. Here I can protect people directly while providing them a safe, welcoming home. When news of the spy arrests broke, Riverside Towers residents were amazed to learn their beloved Doorman had been the key intelligence source. Mrs. Rodriguez from 12B approached him. Henry, we had no idea about your military background. I was intelligence, not infantry, Mrs. Rodriguez. I analyzed threats rather than confronted them directly. But you saved us from spies. I used my training to protect people I care about. That's what skills are for. Young resident Jake from 8A asked, Mr. Henry, were you really a spy hunter? Counterintelligence officer Jake, I protected Americans from foreign spies. That's incredible. Will you teach me spy detection? Henry smiled. I'll teach you to be observant, to care about your community, and to speak up when something seems wrong. Those are the most important abilities anyone can have. The Army intelligence community reached out to thank Henry personally. Colonel Lisa Chen visited the building. Henry, your work prevented a catastrophic intelligence breach. Your old unit wants to honor you. That's kind, but unnecessary. I was just doing my civic duty. You did much more. You proved that intelligence service doesn't end with retirement. Henry found the perfect balance. 3 days a week consulting for FBI counterintelligence. 4 days manning his post at Riverside Towers. This way I can protect America and my building family simultaneously. Manhattan's most extraordinary doorman, the man who catches foreign spies while greeting residents with fresh flowers and morning newspapers. The truth was, Henry loved both forms of service. Sometimes the most extraordinary people hide in the most ordinary places. People like Henry open doors in luxury buildings, but their eyes still scan for threats that others miss. Training never disappears. Vigilance never ends. The next time you pass a building doorman, remember, they might be protecting you in ways you never imagined. Have you ever noticed something suspicious but weren't sure whether to trust your instincts? Tell us in the comments, and if you want to hear more stories about quiet protectors like Henry Washington, subscribe to Unseen Legends, because sometimes the best counterintelligence is found behind a doorman's welcoming smile. This story is a work of fiction created to honor the spirit of service. Any resemblance to actual persons or events is purely coincidental.